One of the biggest fears I hear from people approaching retirement is, I've worked my whole life and now I'm going to have to cut my lifestyle in half just to make my money last. It is a scary thought. Going from dinners out, trips with the family, or hobbies you love to feeling like you need to budget every coffee. And unfortunately, this is a reality for many retirees who don't plan carefully. But here's the truth. Retirement doesn't automatically mean you have to slash your lifestyle. With the right strategies, one's focused not just on investments, but also on taxes, income streams, and spending balances, you may be able to maintain the way you live and sometimes even improve it without overspending or running out of money. Let's talk about how. Hi, I'm Mark Wisniewski, president of Southern Incomes. For over 20 years, I've helped pre-retirees and retirees build income strategies that support the lifestyle they want, not just the bare minimum. In today's video, I'm going to share 5 key ways you can retire without feeling like you're giving up half of what you'd like to enjoy. If you find this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you'd like help designing your own personalized retirement income plan, you can book a time with me using the link in the description. Part 1, understand your real spending needs. The first mistake many people make is guessing what they'll need in retirement. They say, well, I think I could live off 70% of my income, but that's not always true. Here's why your expenses don't all go away when you stop working. Sure, you may no longer have your commuting costs. You might not need to go out and buy new work clothes. And hopefully you've paid off your mortgage, but other costs often rise. This is what I call the retirement lifestyle curve. In the early years, you may actually spend more because you finally have time to do all those things you've been putting off during your working years. Travel, tennis, golf, spoiling the grandkids, your hobbies. Then, in your mid to later years, your spending may naturally decline before it starts picking up again due to healthcare costs. Here's an example. I recently spoke with a couple in their 60s who thought they could live comfortably on $70,000 per year in retirement. That was the number that they were locked into. But after tracking their actual spending for just 6 months, guess what? The number came out closer to $95,000 because they love to travel. They love to eat out. Without adjusting their plan, they would have had to cut their lifestyle drastically. The lesson, don't guess. Track your current lifestyle. Ask yourself honestly, which expenses will truly go away and which ones will stay or even increase. That's the foundation of retiring without compromise. Part 2, build multiple income streams. Think of retirement income like a stool with multiple legs. If all you're leaning on is your 401k or your IRA, it's going to be shaky. If you combine different income sources, you create more stability and more flexibility as well. Your stool might include, well, of course, Social Security benefits, required minimum distributions or RMDs from your retirement accounts, Roth IRA withdrawals, which can be tax-free, or brokerage or taxable investments that you have in other accounts. How about rental income or part-time consulting, which is becoming more popular, even annuities or pensions if you have them? Here's why that matters. Different income sources are taxed differently. Social Security has unique taxation rules. Roth withdrawals may be tax-free. Capital gains are often taxed at lower rates. So by layering and sequencing these sources strategically, you can keep your taxes lower and create steady income that supports your lifestyle. Think of it like building your own paycheck. Just like you had predictable income while you were working, the goal is to recreate that same sense of security in retirement. That way, your essential costs are going to be covered automatically, while your discretionary spending, that's your fun stuff. That comes from your flexible accounts. Part 3, coordinate taxes with withdrawals. This is where lifestyle preservation is often won or lost. Imagine two retirees, both withdrawing $100,000 a year. On the surface, they look identical, but one pays $20,000 in taxes while the other pays $35,000. That $15,000 difference each year is a difference between two international trips a year or staying at home. Do you see how that works? You make your own breaks in this. And why is that such a big gap between those? Because of tax planning or lack of it. Let's walk through an example. Susan and Jim, both 65, have $1.5 million split between IRAs and Roths and other brokerage accounts. They want $100,000 per year in income. If they pull all of it from their IRA, the entire amount is going to be taxed at ordinary income rates. Their tax bill jumps. Part of their Social Security is now taxable, and their Medicare premiums, they're going up. But if they instead pull $50,000 from their IRA, maybe $25,000 from a Roth, and the remaining $25,000 from a brokerage account, their taxable income drops significantly. They still get the same $100,000 lifestyle, but their taxes shrink by $10,000 to $15,000 each year. That's money they can now spend on travel, hobbies, their family, without having to cut back. This is why smart withdrawal sequencing, that's coordinating which accounts to draw from and when, is one of the most powerful ways to preserve your lifestyle. Part 4, plan for healthcare and inflation. Two of the biggest budget busters in retirement are healthcare and inflation. Healthcare, Medicare does not cover everything. Out-of-pocket expenses for your premiums, co-pays, prescriptions, dental, vision, that can easily turn into thousands each year. And if long-term care enters the picture, your costs can skyrocket. Inflation, even modest inflation, can erode purchasing power for 10, 20, 30 years of your retirement. Think about it, how much your groceries or travel costs have risen just in the past decade. If your income doesn't keep pace, you're forced to cut back. But here's the good news. Both of those risks can be planned for. You can build a healthcare fund specifically for those out-of-pocket costs. You can use investments designed to grow with inflation. You can even build rising income streams, like delaying Social Security for higher future benefits. All of this helps you offset those rising costs. And if you don't account for these, you're going to force lifestyle cuts, guaranteed. But if you plan for them, you can ride out these increases without losing the life you've built. Part 5, align your lifestyle with sustainable withdrawal strategies. The final piece is making sure your withdrawals match your goals. A lot of people fall back on rules of thumb like the 4% rule. And while it can provide rough guidelines, it doesn't reflect your unique needs. For example, maybe you want to travel more heavily in your first 10 years of retirement while your health is going to be strong. That might mean taking larger withdrawals early on and smaller ones later. Or maybe you prefer just a steady, predictable amount throughout. The key is going to be balance. Withdrawing too aggressively early on and you risk running out. Withdraw too cautiously and you deprive yourself of the lifestyle that you worked for. A tailored withdrawal strategy based on your actual spending, your mix of income sources, and your tax situation can help you strike that perfect balance. I often remind clients, retirement isn't about preserving all your money, it's about using it wisely. A sustainable withdrawal plan, it gives you permission to spend confidently, without guilt or without any fear. Part 6, a real-world story. Let me share an example. I worked for a couple in their early 60s who had about $2 million saved. They were terrified they'd have to cut back on their lifestyle. Their dream was to travel internationally every year, but they assumed that they could not afford it. When we mapped out their actual spending, we found that they needed, it was about $110,000 per year to maintain that lifestyle. If they pulled entirely from their IRA, the taxes would eat up a huge chunk. But by blending withdrawals, we used some Roth conversions during those gap years before Social Security and strategically selling assets from their brokerage accounts and delaying Social Security to age 70, they reduced their lifetime tax bill by hundreds of thousands of dollars. That gave them confidence to take those trips without worrying that every single plane ticket was stealing from their future. The lesson? It's not just about how much you've saved, it is about how you use it. Retirement doesn't have to mean cutting your lifestyle in half with the right planning, knowing your real expenses, building multiple income streams, coordinating taxes, preparing for healthcare and inflation, and of course, creating a sustainable withdrawal strategy. You can retire confidently, living the life you want. If you'd like help creating a retirement income plan that's going to support your lifestyle, use the link in the description. Give me a call. And don't forget to subscribe for more practical retirement strategies.